Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ranger Gareth podcast, the podcast where we break down what actually matters in your backyard without the fluff. I'm your host Gareth, and today we're diving into Alberta's environmental headlines from August 2025. From wildfires still raging to controversies in hunting laws and millions being poured into green tech, you're going to want to stick around. Let's get into it. Now, some of you might be wondering, oh, who's Ranger Gareth? Because, yes, it has been a long time. First episode being dropped since the Halloween Bigfoot special of last year. Things have been busy, but I promise I have not been wasting that time. There are a lot of stories to come out, but now we're just going to do a monthly breakdown. So, at the top of the list, wildfires. So, if it feels like wildfire season never ends anymore, you're not wrong. August brought no break. Southern Alberta, especially, is bracing for flames to keep burning into the fall. I feel like this summer has not been as bad as others, at least for Alberta. It's been a bit rainier than usual. The mushrooms have been popping up like crazy out in the forest, especially around Nordegg, Banff, Jasper. But it's been a good year for that. But Canada has already seen 7.8 million hectares burned, which is the second worst year on record. We're talking toxic smoke, scorched trails, real threats to homes and wildlife. For guys out there who hike, hunt, or just like to chill outdoors, this is your warning. Dry conditions are probably going to be the new normal. Year-round fire risk might not be a what-if anymore. It could be Alberta's reality. Now let's talk coal. And no, this is not ancient history. A new report from the Alberta government scientists show that rivers downstream from old coal mines like Luscar Creek and the Greg River are still being hammered by pollution. For anyone that hasn't been to Luscar, it's kind of down near Robb or Catamount, a bit south of Jasper in the eastern slopes, the foothills area. But we're talking selenium and heavy metals at levels that straight up kill aquatic life. Some samples, it's even been recorded at 100% over the legal safety limit. Why should you care? Because that's where endangered species like the Athabasca rainbow trout live, and if you fish, swim, or care about clean water, you are directly impacted. Unfortunately, the legacy of mining is not going away quietly. Next, let's hit the oil sector. Prime Minister Mark Carney is rolling out a big pitch. Alberta's oil can stay competitive if it captures its carbon. The plan is called the Pathways Alliance, and it revolves around massive investment in carbon capture and storage, or CCS. The deal, oil companies keep pumping, but they store the emissions underground. For a lot of you, this isn't a new concept, but some people might not realize that, yes, that is the proposed solution. Just pump all the carbon underground where it will hopefully stay forever. It is a tech gamble with billions at stake. If it works, Alberta stays in the game, but if not, well, climate policies and international pressure could shut things down fast. Funding and clear regulations are still question marks, but this is one of the biggest environmental chess moves of the decade. Now here's something that lit up social media. As of August 1st, the rules for Alberta's hunting regulations have changed big time. Some of the highlights, you can now use dogs to hunt black bears. Previously, you could use them to hunt cougars only, I believe. I have never hunted cougar, but I believe you could use dogs to find and tree the cougar and then shoot it out of the tree. Baiting rules have been expanded. The minimum age for a big game license has been dropped to 10. Of course, that would be under the supervision of an adult hunter, but still getting more kids into the hunting lifestyle and culture. Mandatory harvest reporting, scrapped. Wildlife advocates are furious, saying it's a huge step backwards. Hunters are divided. Some call it freedom, but others say it risks public trust. Hunting has always been a bit of a hot topic amongst conservation groups. I lean more in favor of hunters because a lot of the money for hunting then goes directly back into conservation of wildlife and other conservation programs. But there are also people out there who say any killing of wildlife intentionally is negative. Regardless, it's a big shift in how Alberta manages wildlife, and if you're into hunting or conversation, you'll want to pay attention. Switching gears, Alberta is throwing some serious cash at green innovation. Something called the TIER program has dropped $12.7 million into futuristic programs, such as underground energy storage, extracting battery-grade lithium, real-time monitoring of carbon in geological formations, Basically, Alberta is trying to secure its spot in the next gen energy economy. If you're into tech, trades, or clean energy jobs, this is where it's heading. These investments aren't just tree hugging, they're economy building. There have been some interesting new big projects proposed and started in Alberta. There was I believe it was an AI or tech data center that was going to be popping up in the municipal district of Opportunity, kind of up by, I believe that was in the Grand Cache or the Valley View area. They were going to put that. But yeah, Alberta is doing a decent job of, I guess, diversifying its economy. Speaking of next gen, have you heard of the circular economy? Alberta just backed it with $49 million in funding. So there are companies like Chop Value that are turning used chopsticks into sleek furniture. This isn't fringe stuff, it's about reducing waste and building businesses that actually close the loop. So if you want sustainable and profitable, this is that intersection. I recently read an article, it was in Alberta Views magazine, that they're also working on the circular economy for plastics. There has been some controversy in recent years about how what we think is being recycled, like a lot of the plastics, are actually just being pumped into shipping containers and then sent over to third world countries where they are just treated as dumping grounds. So with the investments into the circular economy, they are trying to reclaim some of those plastics, like chipping up water bottles and reusing them for other things, even melting them down into synthetic fibers. So a lot of money is going into that area. Quick heads up for those camping or heading out to the bush. The Calgary forest area remained in high fire danger all through August. So even with no active wildfires, restrictions were in place. No fireworks, no open fires. Take that seriously once the BUP can light up a whole valley. Let me actually just pull up Alberta's wildfire map. I know you won't be able to see that for people that are doing only audio, but I want to see what we're looking at right now. For anyone that isn't aware, the government of Alberta has a pretty good website that shows all the active wildfires using that GIS software. You can see everything that is happening wildfire-wise with a nice little dashboard. So let's give it a minute to load. All right, current year's total area burned 674,000 hectares. 80% of the wildfires right now are currently under control. Thank goodness. Looks like majority of the wildfires were up in the Peace River area this year, followed by the Slave Lake forest area. Yeah, still not a great year. Like I said, second worst year for total lake or hectares burned, but again, not our worst year. Here's a feel-good one. Alberta hosted the 2025 NCF Envirothon, which brought in 500 students from around the world. It was all about forest sustainability, indigenous stewardship, getting young people fired up about protecting the planet. Huge props to the organizers and future leaders coming out of this. Finally, a mini tornado hit the Hardisty area. So northern Alberta got a surprise twist. A small tornado touched down near Hardisty August 3rd. Minimal damage. Mostly trees, but hey, it's rare. And a reminder that Alberta's weather is anything but boring. Also, that reminds me, for anyone that is listening to this on their mobile, I mean, God, pretty much all of you would be. Just type in Alberta hail scar and look at the satellite footage. There was a massive hail and windstorm that flattened something like 425,000 acres of crops and other land in the southern part of the province. So I'm looking at the image right now. Just above Lake Newell, a huge chunk of land. You can see it. You can see it on Google Earth. Just a big chunk of land got flattened by that wind and hailstorm. But there you have it, your Alberta environmental update for August 2025. From raging wildfires to reimagined oil and everything in between, this province is in the thick of change. Whether you're deep in the backcountry, working in the trades, or just trying to make sense of all this, it does affect you. So if you like today's breakdown, hit a follow, leave a review, Send it to a buddy who needs to stay in the loop. I am Gareth, and this is the Ranger Gareth podcast. Catch you next time.